I'm Sam.
And I'm Adam.
And you're listening to Disney Channel, otherwise known as the PMMetalGuide, post-millennial metal guide podcast, episode numero 4. We're talking.
I didn't know we'd secured that brand deal.
just you wait. You know, Disney has yet to offer us the deal, but we'll give it a few weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Already on the front page of Spotify, so.
That's true. We are on Spotify, YouTube listeners.
Yeah, all three of them.
Check us out on Spotify. Yeah, I don't know. That's cool.
It's very cool. Links below. But what are we talking about today, Adam?
We're talking about everyone's favorite, totally real genre, Djent.
I think you mean Djent. I hate that meme.
That is.
It's actually 2013. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, we are jumping back in time and seeing, is Djent still a thing?
Is Djent dead? Was Djent ever alive?
Is Djent dead?
Yeah. But before.
But we're gonna
we gotta talk about what we've been listening to, because I've had a mildly spicy week.
I've also had kind of a spicy week.
Yeah, I see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mew albums. Seems like a very spicy week, Adam.
Wait a minute. That's not true. No, wait a minute. All right. Anyway, you go first then. Fine.
Wow. All right. So
yeah,
I'm a metal kid, and seeing as that is the case, I am diametrically opposed to post-hardcore. However, I've really been enjoying the new Touche Amore album.
I have no idea how you
have you listened to it?
I haven't listened. I haven't. But if it's literally anything like any other Touche Amore album, I will not.
Touche Amore with like a little bit more shoegaze. Well, okay, so I gotta give some background. Me and Adam really aren't the biggest fans of this stuff. Like, I remember I tried to listen to their 2017 album. I don't know. They have a lot of them.
They put out. I gotta say, Touche Amore puts out a lot.
They drop an album like every year. It's pretty cool. But in the past, I haven't really liked them. But I was like, oh, it's getting a lot of positive buzz. I need some new music to listen to. I need some not strictly extreme metal. I'll check out new Touche Amore. And it's exactly what I expected in a good way. It's sort of more poppy, post-hardcore / emo / screamo with like alt-rock tendencies. So all these songs are like 3 minutes long, exactly what you'd expect of the genre, but it's just done well. And they have the very straightforward lyrics, the guitar doodlies, the exact same scream for every song. But I don't know, it's handled well, and I'm enjoying it, and I've had some of the choruses stuck in my head.
All right.
I will say there's a song here that features Andy Hull of Manchester Orchestra, and every time Andy Hull comes in, I'm like, why am I listening to this album? Because he just has the indie voice, and it takes me out of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I would recommend. It's pretty solid. I'm sure most people know about this because it's the goddamn biggest post-hardcore band in the world right now. But peep it.
Probably ever.
I don't know ever.
I don't know if that's too far.
I mean, they're pretty huge.
Yeah, I'd say they're pretty big. Well, I haven't been listening to that, but what I have been listening to that also toes the line of, I guess, our genre space is new Greg Puciato album, which we talked about last week.
Oh yeah, how is it?
But I
see you've been spinning it.
Honestly, I have been spinning it a lot. In fact, the most of anything this week. And it's really, really solid. It's really solid because it's just so confidently and maturely done. Like, you'd expect, like, I don't know, if Spencer Sotelo, who is sort of not in a similar position to Greg Puciato, but like, he's probably the weakest, arguably, member of his home band.
Shots fired.
And there's no shots fired. They're very talented individuals. But with this project, it feels like Greg Puciato knows exactly what he's doing, and is doing it with the most gusto and confidence possible. He's not holding anything back. You know, there's alt metal on this album. There's mathcore on this album. There's industrial metal on this album. There's fucking dark wave on this album.
Is there Witch House though?
No Witch House, but this album does suffer from being inconsistent in style, but I think that all the tracks are great. And for like the first time in a long time, I found an album with like a very stellar midsection. Like the middle 5 or 6 tracks in this album are just bangers, one after the other. Even as it's jumping between like super heavy and fuzzy like industrial noise rock versus his stuff that's like on the Black Queen.
Gotcha.
So like definitely check it out because it has a little something for everyone.
That's what
but
I like to hear.
Yeah, but all of it's done like wicked
well. It's gotten pretty highly reviewed. Everything I've seen seems to suggest it's a pretty good album.
I'm a big fan. It's already on my year-end of list.
Wow.
Woo! It's not super high up there, but like it's up there.
I'll check it out.
Like it's there. Yeah, it's
right
definitely
below
worth listening.
The Ocean's album.
Yeah, well, it's also on Spotify now. It came out on Spotify 2 weeks early.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Because obviously we talked about that, but yeah, because it was only on Bandcamp for like a week, so that's why I say that. But anyway, I guess you can go again. Then
I'm gonna be real. I've sort of dropped the ball of music listening past couple weeks, but so I only listened to a few albums like intently. But one of them, which is also post-hardcore, or is the new Svalbard album from a couple weeks ago. And Adam, have you checked this one out?
I've played one of the tracks on my show.
Yeah, it's like immensely solid.
But I haven't listened to the whole thing.
Immensely solid.
I've heard it's really good.
I saw one person say like this is what Astronoid should have become, and I totally agree with that. It's like it's like
yeah.
It reminds me more of like Rollo Tomasi than anything else, and it makes sense because they're label mates. But it's like a really potent blend of like post-hardcore, screamo, shoegaze, alt rock, mathcore, black metal. Like has all those elements in a blender. It's executed really well, and I'm a big fan of it. And it's one of those things where it has just enough metal influence, so I know like I'm not easily off-putted by certain punk tropes that might otherwise do that. And it has a really good sense of dynamics, really cool production style, cool themes, cool art. It's just a really solid album. I definitely need to give it some more time because there's a lot on display here, but would recommend. It's been pretty highly reviewed.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, I'll definitely.
It's really good. Like it's one of those things where you get like 10 minutes or you get 10 seconds into the first song, you just know you're like, oh, it's one of these albums. So,
okay, right.
Definitely check it out, dude.
Well, that's exciting shit.
Yeah, I think it's a serious contender.
Oh fuck. Okay. Well, God.
Damn.
Right. Christ. Yeah. Okay. Another thing I've been spinning a lot this week, in anticipation for their new album, is the last Pussifer album, Money Shot, in 2015.
Oh my God, I feel
Jesus
old.
Christ.
Dude, they just announced an Arizona desert live stream for the album.
I know. I'm excited. I've been on the Pussifer grind recently, and like I don't know, like I've said this before to you, but like I think Pussifer does an amazing job of like modern art and industrial rock that I don't see reflected anywhere else.
No, it's because we don't listen to any art rock, but no, I agree. Pussifer slaps.
Fair. Yeah, no, it's just like all the songs are bangers, and like everyone behind the band is talented, even if they're not like doing ridiculous stuff with their instruments or whatever. Like it's just wicked solid and wicked unique and very fun.
Yeah, there's a good amount of humor.
Yeah.
Best Maynard James Keenan project post 2001.
That is correct. There's no arguing that. So yeah.
Yeah, gosh, now I gotta. Every time I listen to Money Shot, I'm like, oh my God, this album is amazing.
No, right? Yeah, like all the songs are slappers, and like there's literally no dull moment on the album.
Yeah, it flows really nicely, and like it feels very consistent. And now I'm gonna go listen to Money Shot after this.
Yeah, it's wicked good, dude. You're gonna listen again and be like, oh my god, here we go.
Oh, right. Well, last album I got to talk about is a big meme album. We're talking about the one, the only American football debut album with The House. And so full disclosure, not the only reason, but the main reason that I was listening to this is because I'm recording a Never Meant cover for just like personal fun, and that song is ludicrously hard to play by yourself, like everything walking together, because of the really weird syncopation and the second guitar part. And so I just had to listen to that a fair bit to like get a feel for it. And so I've been listening to the full album, and I guess Midwest emo just is not my genre.
Yeah,
like it's solid. It's very vibey. It's like, oh, throw it on in the background. This is cool, but they're really like I think I told you last night. There are like 2 or 3 songs that are just so much better than the rest of the album, and when you're listening to them, you can clearly tell like, oh, they put a lot of effort into this one. And
right,
I can totally see how it laid the blueprint for an entire subgenre, though.
Yeah, I think I've listened to it once, maybe.
It's a really curious blend of influences, because it's like alt rock, indie, and jazz, and math rock.
It's weird. Yeah, because I don't know, it does feel kind of jazzy and very math rocky, but like it's not.
Yeah,
I just don't think that album doesn't go hard enough, and it doesn't really need to do that, but. I don't know. Like, I feel like even for that genre, it doesn't go hard.
I agree, but I mean, it also
still stays
invented
pretty
the
reserved.
subgenre, so.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's fine. It's cool. Like, I don't think it's my favorite math rock album ever. It's like it's solid enough, and there are some slappers. And that's where I stand on American football's debut.
Well, fair enough, I guess. Okay, I guess we can jump into our main topic then.
Oh my! But Adam, I got one question for you.
Yeah.
Does it Djent?
Does it Djent? I'm gonna be honest. And I'm gonna say it does Djent, but only so much.
Bambica, bam. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we gotta like Photoshop a bad picture of a Djent 2020 in here.
That perfect.
Oh.
Perfect.
So Adam, what is Djent?
Yeah. I mean, should we use the exact words of
Frederick Thorndal?
Well, I mean, Thorndal or Thorndal, doesn't matter. But I don't know. Djent is just yeah, it's I don't know. I guess in the progressive metal tense, it's medium to high gain, dissonant guitar tone that goes.
New
that's the whole thing.
Cyanide.
Yeah. It's just wicked dissonant, or not dissonant. Well, I wasn't trying to say dissonant. I was trying to say like it's a rhythmic guitar technique. It's making a guitar part of the rhythm section, I guess, while keeping it a guitar.
That was a bad explanation.
I don't know. I think that's it was kind of bad, but like I do think that part of the Djent, not appeal, but like why Djent is because it is very rhythmic.
Oh, a lot of. So I think you could call the genre Djent, either Djent, or a lot of people use the term rhythmic, melodic, progressive metal, which is kind of true.
Stupid.
Or just rhythmic, modern progressive metal. I don't know. They're different things, but generally we got syncopated grooves, we got polyrhythms, we got Meshuggah worship, down-tuned 7, 8, even 9-string guitars, and a lot of nice automatopoeia riffing.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it's 2020. I feel like our audience knows what Djent is, you know?
Yeah, that's also true. But that does beg the question. Is Djent dead?
Yes and
think?
no. Hard yes and no. Because, like... So, Adam, when do you think Djent was born? Like, modern Djent, not Meshuggah or Sixth. or Alkaloid.
Probably like 2010.
Yeah, I think 2009, 2010 is right.
Yeah, because you have Cloud Kicker,
Monuments,
you have
AAL, and then
and
Periphery's debut.
And didn't one come out in 2011 too? So that's Tesseract.
When did
plebs?
When did Born of Osiris' like landmark Djent album come out?
Hold, please.
The
New Rain came out in 2007.
But that's not really Djent.
Higher Place came out. Yeah, I think the Discovery, which is their Djent album, came out in 2011 as well. I think. I don't know. My Born of Osiris knowledge is not there.
Well, so when we say Djent, are we going to talk about like strictly the prog metal or the deathcore influence stuff or the metalcore influence stuff?
I think that's important to touch on as well.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll say it straight up. Djent not only referred to like progressive metal bands that were taking heavy Meshuggah influence and blending it with stuff like Dream Theater and more modern metalcore like Periphery or even Tesseract or Monuments, but it also featured deathcore bands taking direct inspiration from those bands like Born of Osiris, Mid-Period, Veil of Maya, and 9 million other artists. But not only that, but it also covers like mathcore, metalcore bands from that same time period that were also using a lot of the same techniques, like Architects or Era.
Yep. Well, don't forget about the instrumental noodle side of Djent.
Okay. Jeez. oh gosh.
There's like 4 quadrants of where Djent fits into, at least.
This was like 10 years ago. Nowadays, I'm sure we'll touch upon this, but Djent is sort of like the America of prog genres or of music of metal subgenres, and that it's just a melting pot of a bunch of different sides that all secretly hate each other but are unfortunately lumped together.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, if like, what do you think the biggest Djent album of this year was? Like for me, it's probably like Caligula's Horse and or Haken, and those albums aren't Djent.
Okay, well, all right. I would argue. Actually, I can't argue. I will say and mean it that the new Cloud Kicker is Djent.
Oh gosh, Cloud Kicker dropped an album.
They did drop an album, and actually, it's quite good.
Like. When you say
it is quite good, I've listened to it.
When you say Djent, what do you mean? Because we got to clarify it.
Like Djent, like 2010 Djent. Like, Cloud Kicker were one of those bands. It's one guy. I can't stop. I should stop saying band. Cloud Kicker, was one of those guys that like made Djent, I guess, a thing now, and he's just been doing the same thing for 10 years, and it's worked.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It is instrumental. It's Djent in the short form. It feels almost like the Bulb Archives is what that album feels like, and that's another thing that those are, I guess, I would consider some of the better Djent albums.
That's a proto Djent actually, because a lot of it was.
Yes.
Gosh, I hate being
you're not wrong.
A genre snob about the dumbest genre in metal. Or not even in metal and heavy music, because then there's the point: is Djent metal? Probably not.
Probably not, but at the same time, when you're both an influencing technique and I guess a genre.
Yeah, the thing is,
in
Djent
some aspect,
I think that's what we'll eventually. That's what the thesis for this will be: is Djent was never a genre; it's a sound, and more so than anything, it's like a vibe. It's a style to writing music that doesn't really abide by strict things, and I think that's what we'll end up talking about. But Adam,
But do you not think that there are specific Djent albums?
I think there are,
because I'd argue that Catch 33 and some of the mid-era Meshuggah albums are just Djent, and I wouldn't even go so far as to call them.
I'd call them Meshuggah
they are just,
because there's no other band that does Meshuggah. Every band takes influence from Meshuggah, but none of them do Meshuggah.
That is true.
But
they're a special case, I guess.
That's the thing. Every Djent band is a special case, because if you want to look at like I think in the year of our Lord 2020, Periphery are just the biggest Djent band probably.
I would say so.
Periphery, AAL, Tesseract, Meshuggah. It's like the big four, right? Everyone and their mother knows and loves them, and like all of them have different approaches to Djent as music. They just utilize a lot of cliches. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. I say we got to go through the timeline of Djent. We gotta go to from its humble beginnings all the way to its maggot infested corpse.
Says so. Okay. Well, that's easy. I mean, I guess at least for me. Djent starts and I guess ends with Meshuggah. At least in the early stages, there is only Meshuggah and like I guess Kobong if you're based, but no one knows who Kobong is.
You can't say that, dude.
Dude, I've listened to the Kobong albums like twice. Okay.
Yeah, well,
and it's just interesting. I don't know.
Djent becomes a thing. It's like technical thrash with weird focus on polyrhythms and like percussive low string technique, and then you get like a band like Sixth, who fused it with mathcore, metalcore, and then a band like Alkaloid, who fused elements of Djent with nu metal.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, there were a million of autistic bedroom producers listening to Meshuggah and Dream Theater in their rooms, and they're like, you know what? I'm making music like both of these. Like,
you don't need to call Misha out.
Well, not even Misha. Also, like Ackle from, or is it Ackle or Acel? I'm sorry, a dude from Tesseract, the lead songwriter there. Like Cloud Kicker, dude, Chris from Monument. No, not Chris. What's his name? John from Monuments. Like all these guys were originally solo, just dudes playing Djent in their bedrooms, and then they became bands, and those bands started releasing debut albums in like the early 2010s, late 2000s. And then we had like the Djent explosion, where like 2012, 2013, every new band was just playing super derivative Djent, which was like sort of a mix of the Periphery style and the Born of Osiris style, and it was very boring. And then like mid 2010s, Djent just becomes a meme, and you got all these like YouTube figures like Jared Dines and Stevie T making Djent meme videos, and it just ceases to be a cool thing. All the bands that had released Djent albums either break up like Vijharda, or release significantly worse efforts like Animals as Leaders and Tesseract. You get more deathcore bands, and
that's harsh, but okay.
Well, that's kind of a wild take. But then you get like more just Djent influenced bands, and straight up Djent bands just sort of start dying down until you hit 2020, where like all popular modern metal is so influenced by Djent, it's ridiculous. But at the same time, you couldn't call any of it Djent. Like I think of Spirit Box as a prime example. Or like Demolisher.
Okay. No, I agree.
By Slaughter to Prevail.
I mean, like even like I'm hard pressed to call the newest Contortionist album Djent, but like holy crap, is that album Djenty?
Well, yeah. The Contortionist or Caligula's Horse?
Both. I mean, I said the Contortionist, but same thing goes for Caligula's Horse.
Those albums have irrefutable Djent blood in them, and they're Djenty as fuck, but at the same time, I wouldn't call any of them Djent.
Yeah.
And I think...
So, I mean, what is our point here? What I don't know, like, what are we trying to get at?
I mean, we got to lead to that, all right? Because I think we both know what we got to say. Well, first we got to say, all right, Djent was never a genre. It was an idea. And I think the fact that let's talk about that spicy claim that all the best Djent bands released shit second albums or third albums.
Okay. Well, I don't agree with that at all. Actually,
well, are you a Weightless stan?
Dude, Weightless is sick. Weightless might be the best AAL.
Weightless is actually the best AAL. Don't get me wrong. But like all those other bands, their sophomore and junior albums suck.
Tell me that the second Tesseract album
I think Altered State sucks. Spicy take.
Way.
Altered State does not live up to the hype.
Bro, dude, I cannot agree.
Okay, look, if you want to look at what makes one great, it's the ability to, like, it's with Djent more than anything else, it's contrast, right? And what makes that first Tesseract album and Altered State so great is their ability to seamlessly blend, like, these Radiohead influenced moments of, like, ambient alt rock with Djent and do it in a really sophisticated way. And Altered State just kind of sucks. It's no. Like, don't get me wrong.
No,
like, they're slappers. It's written fairly well, but I think as a whole it's boring and it doesn't have that same contrast that made their first album so compelling.
I don't know, dude. I just think that this is a spicy take, but I think the songwriting just picks up.
All right,
like,
tell you what.
I think
hum me a non-nocturne melody from that album. You actually can't.
Okay, but is there supposed to be melody?
Yes!
Is there melody in fucking... Is there fucking...
Dude.
Bro, alright. We need to move on from the argument
of... Altered State, lame.
Okay, alright. P2...
Periphery is literally the exception.
Tell me. There's no, dude, no, I disagree. You have Periphery, have Animals as leaders. I think that most of the C2I stuff is pretty strong. Okay, I know C2I is
what about
pretty,
the Born of
pretty
Osiris
underground
trajectory, huh? They lose Jason.
Well, right.
Their albums after him just kind of blow.
I can't.
Then what about the Monuments career trajectory? Like, they release a solid album in 2011 and then just die until 2019 to release like an okay follow-up. You got Vijarda dying. You got Scamcore. What are they? Corellia just dying. Like, I'm sorry, dude. All the biggest Djent bands just kind of blew their load early.
There are exceptions to every rule, and I think that we can easily get that out of the way. At the same time, you know, I would say across the board, you can name like one album from most of the popular Djent artists.
Yeah.
I will agree with that.
But there's a reason why so many of these bands dropped an album in 2011, 12, or 13, and then just disappeared.
Well, yeah, I guess they made their mark and knew that they wouldn't make anything else at all like that. They just didn't want to repeat themselves again, I guess.
I think more so it's because a lot of these debuts, are just very derivative, and they're just very much riding a wave, and it becomes kind of hard to stretch that out across a full discography. Like, dude, shout out to my guys within the Ruins. Shout out to Volumes, like.
Ugh. Yeah, you giving Volumes some love, dude.
Well, I'm using them as examples of that.
Okay, fair enough.
Because let's be real, is there a good Volumes album?
No.
Gosh, dude.
Fucking no.
We are spreading flame.
Okay, you've listened to the 2016 Volumes album, though. You can't tell me that there's a single piece of quality on that fucking
Yeah,
work.
I know.
I don't know. I guess there's the biggest issue is that, like,
Djent just doesn't lend itself well to, like, introspection and artistic growth.
Yeah.
Like, look at all the Djent bands that handled evolution gracefully.
They're not that anymore.
Exactly. they're not that anymore, or they're Periphery. Like, there's no exception.
Yeah. And even Periphery, to an extent, I don't think... Like, I think they've moved on.
I agree.
Like, obviously they're not as thumpy as they were on P1 or P2.
It's more, like
Juggernaut... I mean, Juggernaut made that switch for them into, like progressive metalcore.
Yeah, hard prog metalcore.
Like, just without... You don't even need the thump anymore. Like, the thump kind of exists, but, like, not really.
Yeah, I think for me, what makes those early Periphery albums distinctly Djent is you got the thump, but you also have, like, the the 3-note chord and the leads on top of it, and so it feels very busy. And as soon as you hit, like, Juggernaut, those just cease to exist. Yeah, and P3 and P4 are for the most part 3 guitars on 1 riff. And that's fine, because like, I love Periphery, they're good at what they do. But it's more similar to something like Architects than Monuments at that point.
Sure.
But yeah, I think The Contortionist is an amazing example because that first album is progressive deathcore, but it has a pretty heavy Djent influence. And then the second, Isometric.
Oh god.
The
that's how irrelevant it is.
Exactly.
That's how irrelevant it is.
They try to sort of build on that Djent template, and it just sucks. It's easily their worst work. Then The Contortionist, being a bunch of intelligent, good songwriters, are like, all right, we're jumping ship. And then they made Language, and they followed it up with the best album of the 2010s, Clairvoyant. So.
Whoa, big claim. A claim RYM would not agree with.
What is Clairvoyant rated on RYM?
It's like a 3.3.
Bullshit.
And Language is higher.
Dude, Language is not a good album.
I agree. I don't think that's a popular opinion, but that's another topic. That's for when the next Contortionist album comes out and we need to get hyped.
We need to get immensely hyped. But yeah, look at all these Djent bands. They either they did the same thing one too many times, or they just changed shit. Look at Tesseract. Their new albums aren't Djent. It's it's like hard rock with metal riffs. I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And that's not to say that Tesseract albums are bad. I think they're actually pretty good, but it's not Djent. And there's a reason why we don't hear from any of these other bands anymore.
Yeah. So, I guess, what do you think the most organic evolution that it's taken is? Do you think that it fits best into the Caligula's horse shell? Or do you think that, Djent has lent itself better to the progressive deathcore and mathcore?
I mean, scene? I think it just kind of works. We see elements of Djent in like I said earlier, virtually every popular modern metal album has elements of Djent. That's not a lie. And I think it works as this pervasive source that draws.
I think it works in the new wave of American heavy metal and the progressive metal scenes. I don't think Djent has made its mark to the point where your mayhem is going to be dropping.
Okay, black metal is a very different thing, but even tech death albums have Djent influence.
I can agree, but at the same time, they've always been there. I think. Because, that's, the reason Meshuggah is because they took what the tech death bands were doing and were like,
well, yeah, I guess let's put it this way. I don't know if you've seen a Finn McKenty video recently where he's like, most influential bands ever. And, if you threw a rock at a barn, chances are you'd hit 5 heavy bands that have Meshuggah riffs.
Yes, you're right.
Every metalcore band, every deathcore band, most hardcore bands, Knocked Loose for Christ's sake, use 7-string guitars and have occasional Djent riffs, and they're a metalcore, and they're the hardcore metalcore band. It's so pervasive and it's in everything. Even Unleash the Archers has Djent moments.
Yeah, I can agree.
Pomelo Death has Djent moments. If you look at the new Enslaved album, it has Djent moments.
By the way, I listened to a few tracks. Oh my god. What? Hard to get through.
What do you mean?
Hard to get through. Talk about hard to get through music. Enslaved.
Whoa,
I just can't listen to that.
Are you shooting shots
it's just so boring.
My guys, dude?
Yes, I am shooting shots at the guys who have been doing it for fucking 30 years now.
There's a reason why every
30 years.
80-year-old metal blogger likes Enslaved, okay?
I mean, I fucking guess so, but I don't know it. I don't know, man. Anyway, separate issue. Biggest issue here, I agree. But, Djent is basically everywhere now, even if we don't pick up on it.
And I think it's most clearly shown in the albums we mentioned earlier, the Caligula's Horse, the Haken, because those albums are prog albums with just heavy Djent influence, and it works really well. It's very organic. It lets them show that contrast that makes prog so compelling.
Yeah. I understand. I don't know. Do you wish Djent was still around?
Well,
do you wish you could hear, fucking, I don't know, another, P1 or another Tesseract one.
I'll say it. That style just does not lend itself well to repetition because it's so
No, I agree, but the first time you hear those albums, aren't you like, holy fuck?
Yeah, look, I love that Periphery album. I love P1, P2. I love the first Tesseract album. I love the first AAL album. They're all really solid. But once you've heard one Djent album from that first wave, you've heard them all. Like, there's especially the ones that sound like Periphery or Monuments. Like, those songs are so boilerplate. And that style just does not lead to imitation well, because what makes those bands work is they have a really great like songwriting core, and they knew how to use all these elements and turn them to bangers. And a lot of like kids that just pick up a guitar and want to imitate them don't have those songwriting chops. And that's why I think like a lot of people, I think their next big thing is for. I don't even know what you call it, but like popular deathcore. Like, what would you call Spirit Box or Slaughter to Prevail or the K-Mac album? Like, what are those?
I think that at least for the K-Mac album, that's probably progressive deathcore, if not, just prog or just metalcore even at this point, or deathcore. I don't know.
It's tough, right?
I feel like.
It's like some variety of progressive deathcore with a ton of Djent influence, ton of metalcore influence, and like I think that's like if you look at all the popular new metal styles, I feel like that's what we have.
Well, doesn't that just kind of fade into the new American wave of heavy metal?
Well, so I've literally never heard this term before because I associate that with Killswitch Engage.
Okay. Well, no, I would agree. That is what I would, put it as too. But isn't that what Killswitch Engage and Lamb of God are just evolving into? Because those guys are getting old.
Maybe?
And like, as we preface this entire thing with, Djent is a very American, tool to be using. So, like, I don't know. I think that the Djent... I don't want to say the Jethcore, but the Jethcore, side of stuff is going to be, I think, the new norm as for what makes a metal album metal.
I think we just gotta say popular because we'll always have the what's it called, Neptunian maximalisms in the underground.
Okay, fair enough. But yes, the new norm for popular metal, I think, will be dominated, and I think already is, by the progressive deathcore and metalcore shell.
And if we I think what's interesting is if you look at, I've said these two songs, but like Holy Roller by Spirit Box and Demolisher by Slaughter to Prevail, the way those songs spread, I think is super emblematic of where the popular music scene or metal music scene's going, because those songs were both huge on YouTube specifically, and they blew up through metal reaction videos, which is something that we never could have predicted 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think a large part of, well, if we want to go full circle, and the reason why it's still Djent or still prog is a lot of the coolness behind those songs, or like another example would be Insects by Darko. A lot of the inherent coolness behind those songs is just the amazing technical proficiency of the vocalists and the way they can switch techniques flawlessly and just be general badasses while doing so.
Okay.
Well, no, seriously, dude. Like, if you want to watch any of these reaction videos, what a combination of enfranchised metal people and just like drum teacher reacts to video or vocal teacher reacts.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my god, this woman or this dude is sick. They're so cool. They're doing these really crazy techniques, and like that, it's eye catching and it's decently well written.
Yeah.
Another same thing with, I think Ginger kind of fits in this boat because Ginger is definitely a post-Djent
I think
band.
Ginger fits in the boat too. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm surprised we hadn't brought up
Ginger's
Ginger
a great example of this.
Yeah, and they're huge. They are huge, and you like Ginger, don't you?
No comment.
Guys, Sam likes Ginger, and that's all I have to say. I don't want to say anything more. That's just it. Sam liked their last album. He liked the 2019
album. Is like a hard 5. Ginger has good songs, okay? And those good songs are not Pisces.
What?
Pisces reaction video, and it has to be like a random person like with their face like.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Literally.
I look. I'm not gonna lie. I think that I don't. Actually, I don't know. I can't say it.
He's too flustered.
I don't know. A lot of the appeal,
specifically
for Ginger and like Spirit Box and a lot of those newer bands is a lot of younger metalheads are just lonely and horny individuals. If you know what I'm saying.
Wow, that's a pretty bold claim, Sam.
I'm just saying.
No, I agree. But I think that's a separate issue because I don't think that's the instrumentalist problem.
No, it's definitely not. That's another topic where it's like, how do younger kids even get into metal? You just don't.
Yeah, you just don't. Well, I mean, we did.
Yeah, but I mean,
and I would say we had a pretty strange trajectory. I think
you have to. Yeah. This will be a good topic for another show. I think in order to get into metal nowadays, you really need a very specific background in order to get into it. Because it's just not promoted the way it used to be. Like
fair enough.
I said this a little while ago, but if you would have been a hardcore or punk kid or metal kid, chances are you're listening to like heavier SoundCloud rap. And we both know a few people who fall in that umbrella. And that's fine because, zeitgeists change. But metal just is not popular and will probably never be popular again. And okay, now this is the deep question. Was Djent the last commercially viable metal explosion?
Yeah, I think so. If we're saying that metal will never be popular again, then yes, Djent was, in fact, unfortunately, the last hurrah.
Sumerian had the last laugh.
They still are having.
So I was I happen to know like an ascendant metalhead in my local community who's very involved, does a bunch of photography for local shows and knows like everyone in the scene. And I had a conversation with him yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, honestly, I think the most successful label right now is just Sumerian." And I was like, "Wow, that's a hard pill to swallow."
I mean, even think about like BT Bam is on fucking Sumerian.
Gosh,
like Poppy.
Oh my god, Poppy is on Sumerian.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Don't forget about that. Poppy is on Sumerian.
Actually, that's like the future of popular metal. Is Poppy, I think.
Well, I think that's wishful thinking. That's hoping that Poppy stays along this.
I think Poppy will change her sound, but I do think I'm just ripping points from Finn McKenty, but I really do believe that Poppy is like the future of popular metal. Like,
I can see it.
We talk about him a lot, but 100 gex, like stuff. No, not even joking. It's stuff that has.
I know. I've heard 800 decibel cloud.
It's stuff with like clear metal influence, but that still is like, to ignore this pun, but sufficiently poppy.
No, but I would just say that like, here's the issue I see. When was the last time you heard 100 gex on the radio?
The radio's dead. It's all TikTok and YouTube.
I know.
As two individuals heavily involved in local radio, radio's dead and will never rise from the ashes.
Radio is coming in this wonderful form of podcasting. But I don't know if I can go so far as to say that. Wait, what were we? I had a good point, and it's gone now, and I'm sad.
We're talking about pop. How you were like, well, I don't think Poppy or 100 gex future of metal.
Oh no! Okay, so the thing here's the issue I see. Yes, TikTok is blowing a lot of stuff.
It's blowing everything up.
But it is blowing everything up. But at the same time, like there still is like a crowd of people who only know the music that their parents listened to and only know the music that like they heard on the radio in early 2010 and will only stick and listen to that stuff and everything they've made from that point on. And I know too many of those people,
will never
and
hit
it's horrible.
Audience, unfortunately.
No, absolutely not. But just in the main scene, like that's why I have an issue with thinking that like 100 gecs is the future of metal, because 100 gecs is popular in that TikTok scene.
Well, not even TikTok.
But like I don't know
millennial internet scene that we're part of.
Fair enough. I feel like if you go to a metal show and ask someone if they like 100 gecs, they will probably scoff.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the basest of takes. All right. So metal is unfortunately a boomer genre, right? The vast majority of people that listen to metal are like over 40, and that's cool. But the only people that are getting into metal nowadays are hipsters who just like everything and happen to like the aesthetics and the sound and like the visceral nature of metal. Or people that have very, very specific upbringings that somehow force them into liking metal. But kids our age that listen to a bunch of different music and are very online, the only way they'll get into metal is through artists like Poppy and 100 gecs. No joke.
All right, you're not wrong.
Does it?
So this is me. This is me biting off. Hold on. This is me biting off more than I can chew for one episode. But is after all those boomers die, is metal going to be left to the indie kids?
It's the astronaut
our indie kids
already has been.
Yes. Has been.
No joke. I mean,
I
think back. I think back very fondly to when we saw Death Heaven a couple of years ago, and in that crowd, every single person was an indie kid. And granted, it was a Death Heaven show, but at the same time, like that's how people get into metal nowadays. It's not hardcore like, oh, I'm a thrash head that only listens to 90s thrash. Even though I know a few of them, but
does that make thrash is thrash and death metal going to die? Because of all the genres, I think that thrash and death metal are the least susceptible to the indie treatment.
They won't die, they'll just evolve. Like kind of like Djent.
Okay, well, I don't know. It's weird because like the only real example of like
hypermodern thrash
anything hypermodern thrash is Vector.
Well, I was gonna say
we all know how that's
when
going.
I think of like the last band that really pushed thrash in a cool direction would be like Astronoid's debut.
Well, I can agree with that as well. And I was gonna mention someone like Ulcery and Krallis, obviously being the future of their respective genres in the indie scene. No, absolutely, I agree in that. But I think it is hard to deal with the thrash. The thrash in particular, there's a big issue, and I don't know. It's weird because thrash was so popular at one point, but it just has become so derivative that you need someone like Astronaut to come along. But even they screwed the pooch, and I love Astronaut, and I love both of those albums. And yeah, that's me redacting my statement from my 2019 review of the new. Yes, I will say that I like the second Astronaut album, right? But at the same time, it is not their first album in any respect, because they have gone in the shoegaze direction, which is not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. But at the same time, like that like super aggressive part of their sound is just gone. And I also think that everyone's, hyping up that, like, ooh, Idols is the future of punk. I think that Ultramono has kind of screwed the pooch on that, too.
Ultramono is the perfect commercial move. Because it's...
But do you think that alone will bring back
Nothing
punk?
Alone will bring back... I really am just ripping off Finn McKenzie takes, but I agree with a lot of his points. But I think the future of punk is taking that ethos and channeling it into SoundCloud rap. Or like this is another podcast topic, but the new Machine Gun Kelly album is fascinating because this is a washed up rapper who just appropriated the punk aesthetic and like grabbed onto that super commercialized mid 2000s punk sheen, and suddenly he's larger than ever, and he's selling that pastiche to a whole new generation. But I think that's the future of punk. I think it's younger kids and SoundCloud rappers grabbing elements of punk and putting them in like hyper-focused modern pop trap.
People like Machine Gun Kelly now off the new album.
People don't like him, but it's huge. It's huge. Dude, there was a thread on Mew the other day where it was like, guys, did Machine Gun Kelly save music? And it had like 400 replies. So think about that. But I was like 8 points ago when you said the future of like thrash and death metal, I was gonna say like hardcore is just something we don't touch upon ever because we don't know about it. But both those genres are well and alive in hardcore. And the biggest thrash band of the past 10 years was Power Trip. Rip Riley.
Yeah, well, now what are they going to do?
What
the hell's going to happen with that?
I don't know, because what made Power Trip so interesting is they had cross-genre appeal. Not only did they hit upon, like, the Metallica dads, but they also hit upon the indie kids, because their songs are just so good. And also they had killer hardcore like community behind them.
Yeah. It's the scary thing, man. This is why, I don't know.
Look, let's be real. The future of metal as a whole is probably bleak. And like Djent, it's probably going to die sooner rather than later in the mainstream success sense, but it's going to splinter off into a billion different underground communities and become very incestuous, like we're already seeing now with like look at all of the top albums of the year. Like other than the black metal albums, those are really hard to classify. Well, some of them are like look at a Sock Trillium. Like what the hell is that?
It's black metal.
I'd argue it's more death metal and has avant-garde elements and it has elements of sludge and it
has elements of everything. I agree, but I don't think that
maybe Svalbard's a better example because we talked about that earlier. Because Svalbard takes influence from all these desperate things across genre lines.
Yeah.
And it's a wholly new creation, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I obviously, this goes without saying, but I hope that metal doesn't become just I hope it doesn't become just like Djent, a technical, like, style thing. I don't want it to become a style that is used in other things. Like, that's fine, but I don't want it to go away because of that. Yeah, I mean, that goes without saying, but we hope that, I don't know where
I see what you're saying. Like, you want it to retain its identity and keep on forging on.
It needs to retain its identity, and I think at least for a little while it will.
I mean, in the underground, it always will. It always will. Because you have people like us who hear black metal when they're 15 and decide they're going to do this for the rest of their lives, you know?
Right. Fair.
And spoiler alert, there's infinite good black metal.
Yes, that is true.
But I do think more and more that the kids that would get into metal listen to harder SoundCloud rap or like weird indie.
Well, I guess it's just trying to make a point of getting them into it.
Get out the vote. Get out.
Yeah, literally, get out the vote.
We're like, we got to talk about Evort is Okay more because that album still puzzles me to this day.
I don't even know, dude. I listened to it once and I'm like, I don't know. That's post music, dude.
That's
okay,
post music.
Literally, like that's post music.
Well, I guess before we get on to the next topic, I just have one more question to ask you, Adam.
Sure.
Does it, Djent?
Go for it. Dude, not anymore. Truly not anymore. Not anymore. And that's the sad thing.
I mean, is it really sad, though?
Not really. It's very interesting.
Do you know what is sad, though? Eddie Van Halen fucking dying.
That's very sad. Yes, it is. So I guess we're jumping into our news topic, our news segment of this show. That's fucking devastating, man. Yeah, no. That was a big one.
Like,
that's a big
not
story.
just like, oh, the bassist for this random 70s hard rock band that had one single died. We're talking probably the single most important influence on modern guitar ever is just dead. He's just gone. And he died at like 65.
Yeah.
Like,
I was floored. I
was floored. Like, I'm not even a huge Van Halen fan. I mean, me and you used to joke about him all the time, like, yeah. But like, that man was a guitar legend. He was the GOAT. Everything, all the techniques we hear on modern metal albums would not exist without him. We wouldn't have tapping. We wouldn't have pinch harmonics. We wouldn't have sweeping without Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
And he's just gone. And it sucks.
It does suck, and I think that a big part of that is what the hell's going to happen to new people, new guitarists? Because, I don't know, like, sure, I never learned guitar when I was young, but, like, all my friends that learned guitar when I was, like, a wee baby, right? Like, you had one person. And, like, when I went through, like, my social media feeds, like, that day when he died, like, I saw people from, like, you know, that I haven't spoken to in years, that don't even play music anymore, that are like, hey, this fucking sucks. He's like, this guy influenced my childhood. Like, I lived my life, like, trying to emulate Eddie Van Halen. And that's scary for the fucking future of music in general, I think.
I don't know, it's a sad thing. It sucks.
It is sad. Yeah. It's really horrible.
F.
Yeah, big F. Biggest F.
Like, this guy was arguably the greatest to ever pick up the instrument.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well.
And on that, there were a lot of fairly good tributes to him in the metal sphere.
Yeah, I would agree. They did a good, I mean, obviously, they have to. You have to. Should we get something lighter? Do you have any lighter news stories?
Dude, well, okay, we got... Dude, Adam, I know the entire week you've been wondering this one question, dude. What is up with Fear Factory?
I have been.
I actually have former vocalist of Fear Factory, reiterates he's done with the band. He just lost his love for it.
Has he?
Yeah, he said, these lawsuits just drain me. The egos, the greed.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did you wait? Did you hear that they put out like fucking they put out like a new piece of artwork.
What?
The Dino put out a new piece of artwork on Twitter. Yesterday, yes. There's more Fear Factory coming, Sam.
We gotta review this album when it comes out. Oh my god, dude. Look, Fear Factory has like 2 good albums from before 1992, okay?
Yeah, that's so funny, dude.
On that light note, dude, did you see that this right-wing militia chud was a metalhead?
What?
Oh my god, dude. So there was a pretty sick far-right terrorist plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan, right?
Oh, I heard about that. I didn't know
one
that
of
there
the
was
public figures, one of the dudes that was organizing it, was like a hard metalhead. Let me send you this picture.
Aren't they all though?
No, let me send you this picture.
Aren't they all?
Dude.
Should we put it? Oh my
yeah.
god. Oh no! There's a periphery flag.
Flag. And if you look at his, and he has videos of him at AAL concerts, at Periphery concerts, at like all these wonderful bands.
Well, Djent really is dead, kids. Don't forget.
I thought this was hysterical because a bunch of conservatives were like, "Oh, he listens to metal. Clearly, he's an Antifa member." And this guy is like, oh my god, this guy is clearly a far right chud. But hey, he was a metalhead, so he's representing the community well. Yeah, I saw this picture and I was like, oh my god, that's Periphery flag in the background.
Oh my god.
And this picture was on like CNN and shit.
That's honestly so fucking funny.
I know, it's hysterical.
I guess that's a topic for another podcast about, I guess the far right
and
gross side of
Look,
our
all
genre.
I'm saying, dude, Phil Anselmo, great dude. Look, dude, Dimebag deserved to use the Confederate flag. But
wow,
so that's a nice, funny, uplifting story.
Oh, I have another funny, uplifting story in the same vein, actually,
please.
that we're talking about. So everyone knows Stained, right? Classic. Okay,
yeah,
everyone
dude,
knows
Lewis,
Stained, right? Aaron Lewis, right? Aaron Lewis, he has a solo song called If I Were the Devil, right?
That sounds immensely cringy.
Yeah, and he performed, actually, very recently in our state, no less. He performed at Bernie's, like, I don't know when, but recently.
Like during COVID?
Like during COVID, right? And we're not trying to, be like exactly who. We're not trying to expunge all of our information about who we are, but this is in a bar from our hometown. And he changed the lyrics from If I Was a Devil to If I Was a Liberal.
No!
And
no! Aaron Lewis! Why? Dude, fuck you, man. I hate.
Funny. I'm
like,
sorry.
Gosh, I guess he knows his audience, right? That is genuinely hysterical.
I got a good kick out of it.
Gosh, who cares about Stained in 2020?
No one. I mean, they haven't released an album in fucking 10 years. It's been, I think.
Jesus Christ, that's like something you can't make up. That's like something you'd read as a copy pasta and be like, Aaron Lewis's Stained looked me in the eyes and said, "If I was a liberal." Gosh, dude, I hate that, man.
Yeah.
All right, I have an immensely sad news story to share with us. So you see? So Bill Kelleher of Mastodon fame did a really solid interview, right?
Oh, okay.
And in it, he's basically music sucks. And in it, he revealed not only that one of the largest metal bands of the past 20 years, Mastodon, are all collecting unemployment because they're making under the poverty line.
Yep.
But that Bill Kelleher of Mastodon, to make ends meet, is doing like handyman repair jobs on the side. Like, he's fixing like motors in sinks and stuff.
Isn't that bad? Isn't that bad?
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure every single musician is struggling in this time, but I think it's emblematic of just how bad it is if fucking Mastodon are all doing like handyman jobs to make some dough. Like that. It just like the absolute state of the music industry.
Yeah, the absolute. It's bad.
I thought
that's
that was
horrible,
really sad.
It's just, it's unbelievable. Like, it really is hard to believe that.
Like, if that band's struggling, every other band in the world.
I guess support your fucking artists.
Support your artists. Don't be like Aaron Lewis of Stained.
Don't be like Aaron Lewis of Stained. Don't be like the guy that leaked the Greg Puciato album. That's cringe.
Yeah, that is immensely cringe.
Don't be cringe. That's what all this boils down to.
Don't be cringe.
Just don't be cringe. Don't be. Yeah, I don't know. That sucks. We need to find something that is positive. I guess we've had only negative news today. We gotta have some positive news somewhere. There's gotta be something.
Oh my god! I just. Let's see.
Black Sabbath's debut.
They have their own. The woman has a Funko Pop.
They have Funko Pops. Yeah, the woman has a Funko Pop.
I saw that. That's hysterical. You can't. That's like something you
Machine
can't make
teasing
up.
more music. That is something. Yeah, Machine Head's teasing more music.
All right, no, we said good news, Adam. Okay.
You're right.
I don't know, dude. It's like
Yeah,
there's literally nothing.
The metal news scene has been kind of dry this week. The news scene has been dry.
News scene's always dry. Chino Marino and the entirety of ISIS are working on new music.
I saw that. Very cool. See, that's good. That's good news.
What releases do we got coming up? Because I have a feeling there's some spicy ones. Is Pallbearer this week or next week?
I'm not too sure, but it's soon. So, new Pallbearer. I'm actually excited for it. I know Sam's not the biggest Pallbearer fan, but I'm excited.
This album's universally beloved, and the little EP they released last month is really good.
I don't even know. I can't even. I'm looking at my vast list of fun things, and I literally see nothing. There's a one-man experimental deathcore group called Neil that is dropping their first album, but that's all I got. There's probably
release, man.
Hold on, let me find a Pallbearer.
I think that's coming out on the 25th.
It's the 23rd. It's the next week. I really don't see much.
Let me check my incredibly reliable news source.
Oh yeah.
And in the meantime, stall for 30 seconds.
Okay, well, I don't know. There's some cool, awesome music going on.
Ooh.
Oh, you know what I found really interesting? Sorry, this is something I have to talk about.
Oh my
There's
God.
this band called Hellripper.
Hellripper, dude. That album's awesome, by the way.
I agree, album's awesome, but why is Hellripper huge? I've been trying to parse it together for the last few days, but this random one-piece black and speed metal band from the UK, he's dropped a bunch of splits and 2 full lengths, and he's already when I go through Spotify for what I'm determining is, I guess, quote unquote big in the metal scene, he has 30,000 plays on some of his songs. I'm like, how? I've literally never heard of this guy before this new album.
He's a shredded bubble band. If you go on r/metal, every single person goes bananas for Hellripper.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I've literally never heard of him before.
If I had to guess, his debut probably got really favorable coverage in the blogosphere. And then that
probably
sort of led to positive Reddit coverage, and then that's a self-fulfilling cycle.
Fair enough.
Also, he plays the perfect style of music for that.
Oh yeah.
If you're older than 15 and you're a metal fan, chances are you like Hellripper.
Fair enough.
It's quintessentially good metal.
Mm-hmm.
I have a list of good non-metal albums coming out this week, but
please inform.
So all the indie heads are going bananas for the new Biba B album, or her debut album.
The who?
Adam, you don't know who Biba B is, dude?
I have no idea who.
Do you know the song "Deathbed"?
Is.
It was literally #1 TikTok song.
No, because I don't follow TikTok songs.
Well, it was literally #1, so you should know about it. But Deathbed, the chorus for that song samples a Biba B song. She's like a 20-year-old English alt rock / indie pop / shoegazer.
I've literally never heard of this.
No, dude, the indie world is going bananas for her debut. It's coming out this week.
Well, shit,
OCs or the OCs are dropping a new album.
Really? Didn't they already pull one out this year?
Album. Yep. This is another one. Dude, the OCs are really
Where the hell is my motivation?
Yeah, right. Realizes we haven't recorded music in half a year.
Separate issue.
Separate issue. I have a couple. Health's dropping a collab.
I'm very excited for that. That one I didn't know about, actually.
I still don't like Health that much, but
it's just, you just gotta get into the vibe, dude.
And let's be real. Album of the year, Dorian Electra's sophomore album.
Okay, that's exciting. New Blackwing is coming out in December.
What's Blackwing? Oh, that's freaking Dan Barrett's project, right?
Yes, it's his other. It's his other solo project.
Have you listened to the first Blackwing album?
Yes, I have. It's darkwave.
Like, how darkwave?
Actually, well, one of the tags on RYM, saying you're gonna go bananas, BANANAS.
Oh,
is Witch House.
It Witch House?
Yeah, it's Witch House.
Oh, that's what I love to hear. Dang, might have to simp for Dan Barrett.
Might have to simp for Dan Barrett. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's coming out, which I guess I'm excited. They don't make bad music, so.
They don't?
Yeah, Have a Nice Life. The people behind Have a Nice Life.
What's Tim doing?
Tim has just done, like, drone. Like, noise drone.
Bass Tim.
Like
Bass Tim.
No, literally, Bass Tim. Like, he has 5 albums, 2 of which came out this year on his solo project, The Flowers of St. Francis, that are just, like, each one is, like, 2 20-minute tracks of noise drone.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah, so there you go.
All right, well, let me actually, because let me look at some mainstream albums that are coming out, because I gotta find out.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there was a Blue Oyster Cult album like 2 days ago, dude.
That is true. I listened to one of the singles and I said, nope.
People really like it.
Not for me, man. Not for me.
I feel like there are a bunch of like mainstream albums we're just forgetting about. But
probably.
Don't really matter. All right, I gotta whip out the Consequence of Sound most anticipated albums. We got new Sabbath album that already came out.
Oh, good, great.
Oh my god, the Marilyn Manson album came out. Has anyone listened to that?
No.
Jesus, oh yeah, Napalm Death came out. I feel like we're behind on all these big albums on them.
I knew about the Napalm Death album. I knew about that actually.
It good?
Yeah, it's apparently one of their best albums, actually.
Oh yeah, Heavy Blog gave it a really positive review.
I know we keep using RYM, but New Spirited Drift. I don't like Spirited Drift, but it's their. It is currently their on RYM their 7th best album.
7th?
Of 17.
Seven Dust is actually coming out.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I know we don't really like Seven Dust.
Very exciting.
One legitimately amazing album that we will probably talk about is Thou and Emma Ruth Rundles.
Very excited.
They don't miss. Oh,
they don't
dude,
miss.
First Mr. Bungle album in like 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
That'll probably be solid. What?
I heard. Sorry, I was reading a review of the new Greg Puciato album. I know we talked about this earlier, but someone called him a new Mike Patton, and I don't know. Listen to the album, but I see it. Anyway, sorry.
I feel he's too nice to be Mike Patton.
Yeah, but like,
dude, I saw
they'd have
Mike
a same
Patton
vibe
yesterday where it was him performing during Rock in Rio in 2011 at the same time that Stone Sour's performing, right?
I've seen that video.
Yeah,
yes,
you can hear Corey Taylor being like, "Who's excited for the show?" And then Mike Patton, like in the midst of this bizarre avant-garde like freak out, is just like, "Hey, Corey Taylor, shut up!" And it's like, I hate this man. Dude, we got Fate's Warning.
Stop.
Okay,
hey, people really like Fate's Warning. So.
I'm gonna send you the cover for the new Evanescence album and try not to cringe.
Stop. I don't even want to see it. Oh my god.
Amy Lee, what are you doing?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
How'd that get allowed?
Dude, it's 2020. Danny Brown exists, okay?
What's that? Danny Brown's awesome. What's that have to do with Evanescence?
Danny Brown has the album with the Xanax on his tongue.
Is it? Dude, is Amy Lee ripping off Danny Brown?
I think Amy Lee might be ripping off Danny Brown.
Dude, that's messed up.
I think it is kind of messed up.
She's appropriating rap culture.
Literally appropriating rap culture.
Oh, I legitimately think we should talk about this next week as the focus of our discussion, but Ghostmain album's coming out this week.
The Ghostmain album is coming out this week. But I think that is a nice stepping stone in our podcast. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
We're running the gambit here. This is the longest episode yet.
Yeah, I think Djent just there's just too much to talk about. It's just so deep.
I kind of agree.
But listen to us on streaming services if you hadn't yet. Or
Yeah,
at least check us out there.
We're on all podcast streaming services, most of which I do not know the names of. But definitely Spotify and the Anchor website itself, as well as
Are we on
you
iTunes?
find us on YouTube. Yeah, we're on iTunes, I think. If Apple has a podcast thing, then we're on it, which is cool.
Yeah, that exposure. Gotta work for it.
But anyway, yeah, I guess this is the PM Metal Guide podcast, episode 5.
You gotta do the thing.
What thing?
Yeah, you said. Never mind.
I'm
Sam. This is Adam. Thanks for listening.
Oh, okay. Bye bye.